Garage door, forward and back, RENNER.
Cardinal Cowboy here. Renner Garage Door has you covered. Renner's been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. RennerDoorSTL.com.
RENNER.
This is the Gashouse Gang on 104.1 FM KMOX. Sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. Now, the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
Let's do it, baby. It is the Gashouse Gang on a Thursday with you until 1 o'clock every weekday from 12 until 1. The winter meetings have wrapped up in Orlando, Florida. I've got Bernie Miklas with me, Chris Ranji, and Matt Pauley is joining us right now from the airport. He is at the airport, ready to come back to St. Louis. We're going to talk to Jerry Palm at 12:30. College football and the playoff is established. Also, like to know what in the world is going on at Michigan, because there has been quite a development over the last 24 hours there with their football program and their head coach in particular. But right now, we're talking baseball off season and the end of the winter meetings. So, Bernie, Matt Pauley, I guess let's go ahead and start with Matt, who is wrapping up and ready to come home. I think we kind of expected that, there may not be a ton happening with the Cardinals during the winter meetings. There usually lately hasn't been a lot of movement in terms of trades and whatnot during the winter meetings, and that still didn't happen really around the sport. So what is your takeaway from those 4 days in Orlando?
Yeah, Matt and I were talking about this, Ron. One of the problems, a big problem, is that the winter meetings are so overhyped to a ridiculous level about in anticipation of the action that will happen, because everyone just gets excited. Oh my gosh, there'll be trades. There's going to be all these signings. There's going to be action. It's going to be great. And it really hasn't been that way in a long time. I mean, this isn't like Whitey Herzog in the early 80s strutting into the winter meetings and making these blockbuster deals for Ozzie Smith and Bruce Sutter and making the three-way trade where Raleigh Fingers was a Cardinal for 5 minutes and then he was flipped to Milwaukee. Ted Simmons. It doesn't happen, and then you have people complaining. Well, I can't believe Chaim Bloom didn't do anything. As far as like Chaim Bloom's participation in the winter meetings, he was there for 2.5 days. The Cardinals will not play their first spring training exhibition game until 73 days from now. I think he's got some time to make some moves. I think everything's going to be all right. There's no need to panic and run into the streets with your hair on fire.
Is it fair, though, guys, for people to have a little bit of impatience, considering it just hasn't been particularly good for the Cardinals the last few years? And, of course, people are used to them actually being good, and they've got about a 20-year period where that was the case.
Yeah, I think impatience is fine. I even think impatience is fine when looking at the winter meetings, because so many people did lift this up as an opportunity to go in and make moves. I think where I take an issue is when the impatience turns into an accusation of incompetence, because that's not what's happening here. Again, it's just the market is what the market is. At some point, the market's going to start moving along. If you want to be frustrated by the fact that, we're sitting here, I'm in Orlando. I was at the winter meetings. We're talking, ad nauseum, but those things aren't really real. There's nothing of significance. I think it's totally fair to be frustrated about that, because you want to see what this Cardinals roster is going to look like moving forward.
I was doing a lot of reading this morning. I'll give you like a couple quotes really quick from Jed Hoyer, who runs the Cubs, of course. And he was saying, yeah, we're working on a lot of things, but I can't tell you when things will actually happen. And he made the point that the thing I'm not going to do is rush into a trade that isn't good for the Cubs. I'm not going to do something unless I'm really behind it. You don't make quick trades just to get them done. You make trades because You want them to help your team. And Brian Cashman of the Yankees said the same thing. He said, this is a quote, this market's moving at glacial speed. There's not a lot of the inventory that I'm interested in coming off the board for trades yet. So that means it's really tough to make trades right now. He said, you just got to keep working at it. So, I mean, we're talking about two winning teams. They're going through the same things as Chaim Bloom, who's trying to make a trade. So I frankly don't understand the impatience because I just don't. You know, a team in a rebuild has got to make great trades, and you don't go rushing into these things. You especially with a guy like Brendan Donovan, who 12 to 15 teams want. You owe it to your franchise and to the fans to make the best possible deal instead of like, oh, I better get something done. The fans are impatient. No, trading Brendan Donovan and a couple other guys will have a great impact one way or another in the Cardinals' future. So why would I want him to rush into a trade that might not be the best trade he can get if he would wait and be patient and talk to more teams and get better offers? Why would anybody want that?
And I would say this, if there are teams who should have urgency, it is a team like the Cubs or the Yankees or the Mets or teams that were close last year and didn't do quite enough. The Cardinals, if anybody, should be more patient than them. So I know, and Matt and I talked about this during the Chris and Amy show. There's this word urgency that Chaim Bloom used, and a lot of Cardinals fans want, let's go. Let's change this right now, and let's make this team better, which I fully understand that. I get it. I get being tired of around 500 or sub 500 baseball. I get being tired of that. You're used to winning teams. But the position they're in, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for them to be super aggressive. What it does make sense for them to do is be patient and find the right deals right now. That changes maybe in 3 years when they're close, because when they're close to being really good, that's when you want to be aggressive.
I also think it's reading the market appropriately. Like I've said over and over, you mentioned all the teams that are interested in Brendan Donovan. If Chaim Bloom wants to make a trade for Brendan Donovan right now, he can do it. That's not a problem. There are offers out there. It's about getting the best offer, and it's about reading the market. You know, what has happened here with the New York Mets and losing Pete Alonso, all of a sudden the Mets have an opening at first base. That creates first basemen that are out there on the market as being more valuable. So I think there has to be some trust here with Chaim Bloom that he's going to be able to read the market and know when it's time to go ahead and close a deal and when it's time to wait. And when the market just is not moving at all, it's time to wait. Now, I would say for any team, like I understand what you're saying, Ranj, but whether you're the Yankees, the Mets, the Dodgers, the Cubs, whoever, there's no difference in making a trade during the winter meetings or right now in December or waiting it out to January and even at the beginning of February. It's all the same. Whatever the roster, it doesn't really start mattering until you get very, very close to spring training.
Right. I would say the difference is for teams like that is you do not want to get left with nothing. Because if you wait too long, then you've kind of screwed yourself for the season coming up. So, yeah, you want to be patient, but there's a fine line there. You got to be careful about not waiting too long and then having no options.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Right. Got Christmas 2 weeks from today, and all I know is Chaim Bloom better get something done because that's the trade deadline. You can't make any trades after Christmas. So he's got 2 weeks to trade all these guys and fix the Cardinals because as of Christmas, the trade deadline for the offseason is over.
I expect let me tell you what I want.
We're really ridiculous people now. The short attention spans and just this rush to, I got to be the tough guy on Twitter. It's turned so many of us into, I won't say the word. Anyway, you get my point.
No, listen, I'm going to be on Twitter on Christmas Day waiting for, if I don't see some deals Christmas morning, if I don't wake up and there are baseball deals under the tree, I'm going to be pissed.
I don't blame you. And make sure you call or demand the dismissal of everybody in the Cardinals organization at that point. Make sure you do that. Or you know what? If you don't, Ranj, you're chicken. You're a coward. You have to demand firings and imprisonment.
I'm doing it.
If they don't make any trades.
That's right. I'm doing it.
It was pretty funny. Chaim Bloom was, he visited with us every day of the baseball winter meetings, and he was telling a story about when he was with the Tampa Bay Rays, how they had given, it was, Christmas, 23rd, 24th of December, and they had given everybody time off and time to be with their family. And then there was a free agent that they were very interested in, and their agent came in on Christmas Eve and said, we need your last and best offer right now. So on Christmas Eve, they had to get the whole baseball operations folks back together. And he, because Chaim is Jewish, he goes, even me, famous for my non-celebration of Christmas, was annoyed by that. So it was a pretty funny line by him.
That's really great.
Can I throw one other thing in? And the old school people and the traditionalists will actually like me for what I'm about to say. The way baseball is now, obviously compared to the Whitey Herzog time, right? I'll sum it up this way. It takes a village to make a baseball trade, because you just don't have Chaim Bloom or Jed Hoyer or Brian Cashman or Matt Arnold in Milwaukee. They got a team of analysts. They got a team of assistant GMs. They have got a team of scouts. They're running 6 million projection models. They're having meeting after meeting after meeting. When you got about 10 or 12 people that are helping you identify trades, and then you throw all the analytics and projections into it, no wonder no trades were made at this year's baseball winter meetings. I mean, you got to have 100 people in the middle of everything to look at every little detail. It takes a village to make a baseball trade.
So that's another story that Chaim told. I think, I don't know if it was with Boston or with Tampa, but they're at the winter meetings and they're working with another team and they're trying to get a trade done. And it was like an international summit where they brought, the team, a dozen guys from one team and a dozen guys from another team are all in a hotel suite together, and they just can't get the deal to work out. And, the team leaves the room and they're really unhappy about it. And there were kind of some hurt feelings. And then two scouts, one scout from one team and one scout from another team who had a pretty good relationship. They knew each other and they had been in the room. They're standing at the elevator and one looks at one and says, what if we did this? And the other said, well, what if we did this? And they said, I think our bosses would go for it. They walked back into the suite, talked to their respective bosses, and the deal got done. So it couldn't get done when there was 20 people involved. But when those two scouts standing at the elevator in the hotel were able to talk one-on-one for a second, they were able to work through some things.
Well, looking forward to seeing what happens here for the next several weeks. And yes, there are going to be a lot of impatient people out there. And we want to hear from the impatients. We love it. We love you. That means you care. That means you are passionate about this Cardinals team. And, of course, we are too. So Matt Pauley, have a safe travel back to St. Louis. Matt Pauley is with us. And Matt Pauley is the host of Countdown to Opening Day, now every Thursday from 6 until 8 o'clock as we lead into the baseball season in 2026. Thank you, Matt Pauley.
You bet. Real quick, if I could just tell you tonight, Oliver Marmol will be on the show. Chaim Bloom will be on the show. Chip Carey will be on the show. And JP Morosi from MLB Network will be on the show. So it's a big show tonight, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, right, KMOX.
And if you're listening to this show right now after 9 o'clock p.m., because that's when it re-airs, you will have heard all of that already. So there you go. It's going to be like a real time loop. Matt Pauley, we love you.
Thank you.
That is Matt Pauley, host of Sports Open Line, Redbird Rush Hour during the season. It is Rush Hour Sports during the off season. And, of course, Countdown to Opening Day, 6 to 8 p.m. on Thursdays as we head into next year. I got Bernie Miklas with me, Chris Ranji on the Gashouse Gang, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. We will talk college football at 12:30 with Jerry Palm. We're going to get his thoughts on the CFP and the developments that have happened with the Michigan football team. There's a lot going on there, but I got Bernie with you until 1 o'clock on KMOX.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original, present 100 years of KMOX.
Ladies and gentlemen, His Holiness Pope John Paul II.
There, when St. Louis celebrated.
We greet you and we thank you. For 20 years, you have lifted our spirits and touched our hearts.
There was much excitement in St. Louis during the recent baseball season.
picked any other state or country to go to, and you picked our city.
I will always remember St. Louis. I will remember all of you. God bless St. Louis. God bless America.
There for every headline, every heartbreak, every heartbeat. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Brought to you by St. Louis Public Library, St. Louis's original search engine.
Discover one of St. Louis's greatest treasures, St. Louis Public Library's Central Library. Designed by world-renowned architect Cass Gilbert and completed in 1912, this Beaux Arts masterpiece blends stunning historic details with modern design after a $70 million award-winning renovation. Experience the grandeur for yourself. Free docent-led tours are available Mondays at 11 and 12:30 and Saturdays at 11 noon and 1 p.m. Visit online at slpl.org to learn more. St. Louis Public Library.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hi, this is Randy Carricker. Congratulations to KMOX, 100 years strong as the voice of St. Louis.
Join the show if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Find the KMOX Sports page, and we're there. It's the Gashouse Gang. You could search us out as well. Odyssey app, you can search out Gashouse Gang and listen to the show later. But we like your comments, and you can do that on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We see those comments in real time and try to get to them. Of course, 314-436-7900. Bernie Miklas is with us. The show is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin dealer. I'm Chris Ron. College football with Jerry Palm coming up at 12:30. And just to continue the winter meetings, Cardinals off-season discussion here, this question coming in from Nick, who was watching on YouTube, who wants to know what we think the likelihood is that Donovan and Arenado are on the Cardinals opening day roster. That's from Nick. I think that Donovan is very likely gone. I'd be surprised if he's still here by next year. I would not be totally shocked, though, Bernie, if Nolan Arenado is still on the roster just by virtue of them maybe not having suitors for him. It's not that nobody has any interest. I don't know what the interest is out there for him at the moment.
No, you're right, Raj. There's not much of a market for him. And I have immense respect for Arenado as a Hall of Fame player. I'm glad that he's been a Cardinal for 5 seasons. It's not his fault or the Cardinals' fault that offensively he entered into a really early offensive decline. I think that was totally unanticipated. But the fact is, if you keep him, you're gonna have a real logjam. Now, let's just say hypothetically they also decide, well, these offers just aren't what we wanted for Donovan, so we're going to keep him. I'm speaking hypothetical. Well, then you're introducing J.J. Weatherholt into the mix. He can play second. That's where they want him. But he can also play shortstop and some third base. Donovan can play in a lot of different situations, so a lot of different positions, 5 or 6. But if you have Arenado and you have Gorman, I don't think they want to trade Gorman, but they're going to listen if anybody wants to talk to them about Nolan Gorman. But Arenado at third base is going to kind of gum up the works, where even with the flexibility they have with these infielders that can move all over the place, when third base is tied down a lot by Nolan Arenado, it just limits what you can do to keep all of these other guys busy. And Chaim Bloom says, and as Chaim Bloom should say, this is just posturing to let other teams know, well, we're not giving him away. When he's asked, like, well, would you lease Arenado and pay off the remaining salary? And he says, absolutely not. That's what he should say. But we'll see if that remains the case, because I don't see much of a market right now, but things can change. Things can change. Again, it's early. I'm going to follow my own advice. It's really, really early. There were no trades made during the winter meetings by anybody, so I'm not sure why some fans are comparing Chaim Bloom to John Mozeliak. I mean, at some point, we got to understand this is a new era of Cardinals baseball and judge it accordingly based on what they do rather than what's been done in the past. That's just what, and I tell myself that too. I tell myself that. What the Cardinals used to do is no longer relevant because they're beginning a brand new era under a brand new baseball leader. If Chaim Bloom flops, if Chaim Bloom's bad, if he doesn't get it done, I'll be the first to criticize him. I don't understand jumping on a guy before he's even had a chance to get something going, especially with all the great work he did in repairing and rebuilding the Cardinals player development system. This has been a major accomplishment and better. What? That doesn't matter? I don't get this. John Mozeliak does not work for the Cardinals, okay? Thank you.
Well, so I don't know if you're referencing this, but there are a couple of comments here that are related. GWC watching on YouTube says fans are tired of the Mozeliak be patient theory. They are not returning or watching until they put out a Dodgers lineup year after year. And another comment immediately after says Mo wasn't patient. He made some bad trades and got scared. I would rather have Bloom taking his time to make smart decisions.
That's right. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. I saw another comment, where someone says, well, Cardinals fans, it's just like the last 5 years where they did nothing during the offseason. Excuse me. Before the 2024 season, they signed 3 starting pitchers, okay? And they jacked their payroll up. They did some things in the offseason, but they didn't do many smart things. They wasted a lot of money on stupid signings. So I'm not in favor of that. I would be opposed to that. So can we let Chaim Bloom do his job for a while before we start marching him down to the Mississippi River and throwing him in? Is that okay? Can we let the man? He basically became the leader of the Cardinals baseball operation in late September. It's now mid-December. Can we just exhale and just let things play out? I don't know, a little bit. It's not like he's been in the job for 2 years. He's been in the job for 2+ months.
Hey, man, I'm with you. The patience here, though, I think is worn thin in general from Cardinals fans, and I get it, but you kind of have to reset the clock here because there's a new person in charge. And if you don't wait to see at least a little bit of what that person does and give him some time, then you're looking at it the wrong way. That's how I see it. I think the hiring of Bloom is an acknowledgement that they needed to change things up in the first place. So they've done that. Now let's see what he does. And if a year or two from now it's not looking like they're making much progress, I think then we can have some issues. Bernie Miklasz.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it, man.
Bernie, come back. We're going to talk a little college football because it is an exciting time with the playoff set. And Michigan, I've mentioned that. They have dismissed their head coach who's been arrested. So we will discuss all of that with Jerry Palm when we come back on 104.1 FM KMOX. It's the Gashouse Gang.
This is one of the most important Cardinals off seasons ever as the club heads into a new era under President of Baseball Operations Chaim Bloom, and the Countdown to Opening Day show is here for you. Which players will be back? Who will be traded? And what new names will be joining the roster? Which prospects are ready to take a big step? Join Mike Claiborne and me, Matt Pauley, and our mini guest as we take you from the hot stove all the way through spring training. Catch the Cardinals Countdown to Opening Day show every Thursday night from 6 to 8 on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-941-2255. That's 800-941-2255.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/life.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
It is 35 degrees and cloudy in St. Louis. The high, we are approaching that. It'll be 38. The weather is brought to you by the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company, PennMutual.com/STL. At Penn Mutual, we believe life insurance is the central part of a sound financial plan and that it can make an enduring impact for generations to come. So talk to your independent advisor or go to PennMutual.com/STL. Penn Mutual, trusted for life.
Bet the game day action right from your phone. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app now. Use code RADIOMO. Place your first bet of $5 or more and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Open to new users in Missouri who are 21 or older. First wager after registration must qualify and win. And bonus bets expire 30 days after receipt. See Caesars.com/promotions or the promotions tab on the app for full terms. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Attorney General Catherine Hanaway with an important message about holiday scams. During the holidays, we see an uptick in phony package delivery notices, fake charities, travel booking scams, and urgent gift card scams. If you've been the victim of a fraud, please call my office to help at 800-392-8222 or visit ago.mo.gov.
Sponsored by the Missouri Attorney General's Office.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com, 800-491-9914. 800-491-9914. That's 800-491-9914.
The St. Louis University men's soccer team is heading to the College Cup, the Final Four of the NCAA tournament. The Pelicans face North Carolina State this Friday night. Catch all the action live starting at 7 p.m. on 104.1 FM KMOX.
What a fun college football season it's been. Unexpected college football season in a lot of ways. And the playoff, as it always does, irritates some people, makes others happy. And there was a massive development yesterday as Michigan fired their head coach, Sherrone Moore. So to talk about all of that with us, we are joined by Jerry Palm, who his website, you should go to it. He covers college football and basketball, palmbrackets.com. Jerry writing for CBS for a long time, and he's with us now on KMOX. Good afternoon, Jerry. How are you?
All right. How are you?
Doing okay. So this story, first of all, let's start with Michigan, because they have fired their head coach for inappropriate relationship with a staffer, and he has also been arrested for assault. What in the world is going on in Ann Arbor?
Well, that's an excellent question. It's really just tragic. It's, you've got obviously Sherrone Moore has a problem with his family, and so it's a tragedy for his family and probably the girl that he was messing around with, and maybe even him, because obviously he's not reacting very well in a way that he is in protective custody with the police. So it's just it's more than just Michigan losing their head football coach, but it's also that. And obviously you're getting ready to play a bowl game against Texas, and it's just a really unfortunate situation for everyone involved.
Jerry, Bertie Miklasz, really good to talk to you again, man. And, the best of luck to you in your new endeavor. I'll be a regular reader.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're the best, man. And such great work for many, many years at CBS Sports. All right, I got to ask you the follow-up question, because, football is very big in the state of Michigan. What are they going to do for a coach? The timing on this could not be worse, which is not the most important consideration here. I get it. But they're still going to have to get a football coach. What do you think?
Well, yes, the timing's bad, but they're Michigan. If I don't know, without casting aspersions, the Missouri job opened up, that would not be the same thing, right? This is Michigan.
Sure.
And Michigan's got a lot of resources, and it's one of the top 2 or 3 jobs in college football. So you're going to get the kinds of names that you would get any time of year, just about. And you're going to get the names of people who are already coaching at high-level schools, like you've heard Kalen DeBoer's name thrown around as an example. And he's the coach of Alabama. So, that's the kind of a person that Michigan can go out and pursue and maybe even get if that's what they want. This is a very desirable job. And, other schools at this time of year would be struggling. Michigan will be able to find a way.
Jerry, the reality that Indiana is the number 1 team in the country, they defeated the last number 1 team in the country in the conference championship, and now they are a legitimate national championship contender, is really the story of the season. It always seems, though, that Notre Dame finds a way to steal headlines. And that kind of happened here. Notre Dame left out of the college football playoff, then said, we're not even participating in a bowl game because we were left out of the CFP, so it's in protest. What are your thoughts on that entire situation?
Well, it's a bit petulant on Notre Dame's part. That's really all it is. Well, first of all, the committee got it right at the end. They should have got it right sooner. But they didn't. And they had created false criteria that these teams had to be next to each other before head-to-head could matter, when head-to-head matters almost every week in different parts of the bracket or the rankings. So, but this was just and it's funny because this thing happened one other time. There's only been one other time in the college football playoff rankings history of any week where 2 teams didn't play and one jumped the other. And that was the very first college football playoff team when Baylor had beaten TCU in the regular season. TCU was 2 spots ahead of them going into the final week. The Big 12 did not have a conference title game back then, so they didn't play. But the 2 teams between them did, and they both won, and they both jumped TCU, and then Baylor did as well, because they were finally next to each other, I guess. But it took them that long for that to happen, and those are the only 2 times this has ever happened. And I just think that's silly. You know, if the head-to-head means something, it should mean something, you know, before the last week of the regular season, when you have to, in this particular case, create a circumstance where those 2 teams end up next to each other, when maybe you might not have done that if you didn't need those 2 teams next to each other to get the rankings you wanted.
Jerry, I want to ask you this, and just for our audience, Jerry is a proud graduate of Purdue University in Indiana. And I know he put that aside to appreciate the Indiana ascension. I know that. But no, all kidding aside, as someone who's like passionate about Purdue football, or name any other program that's been kind of down and out for a while or middling, do you think the rise of Indiana will kind of create perhaps false hope, or do you think we're going to see more Indiana type stories in this era of the transfer portal and NIL?
I would say it's more likely that you see more, but not a lot more, because Indiana caught lightning in a bottle in a way. They, first of all, threw a lot of money at Cignetti. He brought a lot of his players, but other players that he knew from the Sun Belt. He's almost like a Sun Belt all-star team that brought to Indiana, plus, you know, the players left over and new ones that he could recruit. And, you know, it has worked out amazingly well. So that's not always going to work out amazingly well. So it's a little bit of the circumstance of the transfer portal and things like that. And it's a little bit of the circumstance of this just worked out amazingly well.
So Indiana is the number 1 seed here in the college football playoff, but do you believe they are, in fact, the best team in it? Well,
they're one of them. I don't know that there's a definite best team. They've earned the number 1 seed. There's no argument there. They've absolutely earned the number 1 seed, and they're probably a favorite to win it. But, you know, once you get into a playoff, you know, you have one, you know, bad day and you're gone. Indiana hasn't had one yet. So maybe they're due. I don't know. But certainly Indiana winning the college football playoff this year would not be a surprise, because they're entering this tournament as the number 1 seed and have as good a chance as anybody.
Jerry Palm with us from his new site, palmbrackets.com. Jerry, how do you think the Heisman Trophy vote will turn out when announced on Saturday? And if you were to rank the candidates and how you would put them on a ballot, what would you say to that?
Well, first of all, my vote would be Diego Pavia. I just really like him as a player, and he's done much of the heavy lifting in getting Vanderbilt to where they are. So that would be my choice. I think Mendoza will win, and I think Mendoza will win because they beat Ohio State, and they're number 1, and so I think he'll win. But I would have voted for Pavia, and Mendoza's an excellent choice as well.
Again, talking to Jerry Palm here, who also covers college basketball. Is there anything about the start, and I guess we're several weeks into it now, but is there anything about the start of the season that has been surprising to you, at least this early on, before a lot of teams get into conference play?
I would have to say Michigan's utter dominance of everyone they've come across. You know, I mean, Purdue was a preseason number 1 and could still end up there. But Michigan has just been annihilating people. As good teams, bad teams, any team. You know, Michigan's run to start this season has. There have been some negative surprises as well, I suppose. But Kentucky's really struggling, and that's not something you normally say, and it's by their standards struggling. But the Michigan is just laying waste to its schedule through mid-December. To me, is the biggest surprise. And we knew they'd be good, but not like this.
It's I get into the basketball season probably after Christmas, but I did watch Michigan a couple times. You're right. It's just like, whoa, where did that come from? And we know they're talented, but it's breathtakingly dominant. Jerry Palm, what is your? I want to phrase the question correctly. Are we? Is it going to be like this from now on with college football, with coaches changing jobs literally when their teams are about to enter the playoff? Of course, talking about Lane Kiffin. Here's what I don't understand, and maybe called me old-fashioned and stuck in the past. I don't think I am. Why aren't college football coaching contracts binding? Why do teams let other teams tamper with their coaches? Yeah, I don't get it.
They are binding, but there are buyouts to the bindings. So, if you've got enough money, and certainly LSU's got enough money, then you can get out of contracts. There are escape clauses that are expensive, but still escape clauses. So I don't think that's going to be a very normal thing where playoff coaches are leaving their teams, in part because you just don't have a lot of playoff coaches. And they're not usually leaving for anything. So I think this will be a relatively unique circumstance where Lane Kiffin's leaving in the middle of the playoff. But coaches have left before bowl games now for quite some time. So that's not as big a deal. But for the playoffs, yeah, that's kind of unique. And now with the Michigan job open, you could see it happen again. You could see another playoff coach headed for Michigan. Now, whether or not they want to do it before the playoff starts or even in the middle of it, you never know. But it'll be on Michigan's calendar more so than the coach's calendar.
And along those lines, Jerry, there are people who have really big issue, or they take issue with players who are on college football teams who might get drafted or know they're going to get drafted, who will not participate in a bowl game that's not a playoff game. Is that a problem for you?
No, they need to watch out for their future. So, no, I don't have a problem with that. And it's not just that. You have players that are thinking they're going to transfer and don't want to play either. That may very well be what happened at Iowa State and Kansas State because they lost their coaches. Iowa State, like 2 days before, the bowl announcements. And, when you lose a coach, a lot of kids tend to leave. It's not always that way, but you've certainly got a lot of kids probably thinking, well, I don't want to play in a bowl game and risk where I might end up somewhere. So, yeah, it's and there's a lot of money at stake now for these kids in NIL and stuff like that in college. It's not just pro money, it's college money. And for some kids, that's going to be the end of the line for the money playing football. So, no, I think we may see more of that. When coaches leave before the bowls, you might see, not once the bids are accepted as much, but before opt-outs before the bowls are even announced. That's something you might see. Notre Dame, of course, different story. But Iowa State, especially, and Kansas State could have some of that going on. That's total speculation on my part. I don't know anything. But, your program's in transition, and it's not just your coaching staff, but it might be players as well.
Jerry Palm, palmbrackets.com is the website covering college football and college basketball. He's very good with CBS Sports for a long time, now with his own venture, palmbrackets.com. Jerry Palm, appreciate it. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry is fantastic. And with us here on the Gashouse Gang. And that's brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin dealer. And Bernie, as we hit the break, why don't you tell us more about our friends at Saliga?
I'm proud to, as you mentioned, Heating and Cooling is a Daikin comfort dealer. The same Saliga family, 4 generations have owned this incredible business in St. Louis. It is a St. Louis institution because they're about to hit the 100-year mark, which is just amazing to me considering how businesses come and go. They're about to hit the 100-year mark of servicing St. Louis families in heating and cooling and other home-related matters. And Dan Saliga is the 4th generation owner-operator of that proud family business. Now, listen, we have been calling Saliga for the last 18 years, so I believe I have the credibility to speak about how great they are, and they are great. They have saved us so many times, not with just breakdowns in our equipment and having a cold house in the winter and whatever else can go wrong. But every time they help us out, we're like, it's bad that this happened, but thank goodness we had Saliga Heating and Cooling to call, because they identify the problem. They're professional. They're smart. They're classy. They give you options. They explain everything. You can ask them as many questions as you like. And they will never try to hustle you, upsell you, twist your arm, try to talk you into something more expensive or something you don't need. It's a very honorable business. It's because they want to earn your trust and they want to earn your business. And every time you deal with them, they feel like they got to prove themselves all over again. It's a beautiful business and they can do a lot for you. So if you want to look at the whole list of services for Saliga Heating and Cooling, including the phone number and the maintenance program called the Priority Club, just go to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Thank you.
Winterfest is back for the 10th year in Keener Plaza, now through January 11th. Enjoy Winterfest traditions, including ice skating, s'mores, and igloos underneath 100,000 twinkling lights in the shadow of the Gateway Arch. Grab a bite or drink from downtown favorites and enjoy a family-friendly New Year's Eve fireworks spectacular. Winterfest, hosted by Gateway Arch Park Foundation, presented by Bank of America and Worldwide Technology. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brisati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-830-4914. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-830-4914. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-830-4914. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-830-4914. That's 800-830-4914.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RAIN to get up to a $5 per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RAIN to get up to a $5 per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RAIN.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Now back to the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Just a few more minutes on the Gashouse Gang, Bernie Miklasz and Chris Ranji. We got the news this morning, Bernie, of the new St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame inductees who will be inducted at the MAC coming up February 4th. That is a Wednesday. And just to name some of them, Bernie, I think we would not be surprised to hear that Pat Maroon, former Blue, is an Stanley Cup champion, back-to-back Stanley Cup champion, also with the Tampa Bay Lightning. He is going to be inducted. The DeWitt family, Bill Sr. and Bill III, will join Bill Jr. We have Bob Ramsey, St. Louis University basketball broadcaster for 40 years. He is getting inducted. Mike Jones of the Tackle. You know Mike Jones helped secure a Super Bowl win for the Rams, and Todd Worrell. Those are among the inductees coming up here for the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see everyone get recognition, including Devin Alexander, who was a world champion, WBC IBF boxing champion, and I covered some of his fights during his rise. I, also, a tip of the cap to Dan Rolfs, 12-time state basketball champion, Incarnate Word. And there's just so many illustrious people in here. And Bob Sundvold, winningest coach ever at UMSL basketball. So a great basketball family. So I'm happy for all of them. And I know that the dinner and the ceremonies coming up on Wednesday, February 4th at the Missouri Athletic Club in downtown St. Louis. But hearty congratulations to all who made it. And what an illustrious group of people are in that Hall of Fame.
And last thing, Bernie, we've got about a minute or so here. The Blues play in Nashville tonight, and Robbie Fabry back. I don't think we've had a chance to talk about that with you, but what are your thoughts on Fabry rejoining the Blues?
Well, pragmatically, they're desperate for help because they have 5 players out. I mean, that's a lot. I know injuries are part of the game, but the Blues have gotten walloped with a bunch of them all at the same time, basically. Including a couple of important players. But the thing about Robbie Fabry, as the Blues have said, he's capable of playing all 3 forward positions. You can plug him in anywhere, center, left wing, right wing. He's done enough in his career where he's been a good player. I think he's at that stage of his career where he still has to prove he can be a good player. So this is a really good opportunity for him, and I hope he makes the best of it because it'll help the Blues, but also it'll be good to see him get it going again.
That'll be cool. Tonight, they will play in Nashville, and the Blues get going at 7 o'clock. So Bernie Miklas and Chris Ranji. Bernie, you will be back on Rush Hour Sports tomorrow at 5 o'clock, correct?
Yes, sir. Always great. Yep. And always great to work with you, Ranj. I appreciate you, man.
It's the best, man. I love doing the show. And we'll be back tomorrow. It'll be Mike Claiborne tomorrow with me. Who else do we have tomorrow, Matt Pajeski? I forgot completely.
SLU AD Chris May at 12:30.
That's right, Chris May, athletic director for SLU, because the soccer team is going to play in the Final Four tomorrow night. That's their first time back there since 1997. The men's soccer team has just had a terrific run. So big game tomorrow night. Also, the SLU basketball team off to a really nice start this season as well, the men's team. So we'll talk to athletic director Chris May on the show tomorrow. Otherwise, Mike Claiborne and me with you. Have a great rest of your Thursday. We'll talk to you tomorrow. For Bernie Miklas, I'm Chris Ranji. Coming up next on 104.1 FM KMOX, it is the Dave Glover Show. Have a great rest of your Thursday.